Happy Friday. Happy Friday indeed. This is Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. So glad you're with us. I'm Josh Kirby. What's so great about week one is that yesterday, Millbrook traveled to Loudoun Valley and Sherando hosted Amherst County. So a double dipping of high school football here in week number one across the Shenandoah Valley and beyond. I'm here with you on Kirby's Kickoff each and every week, getting you set for the local area high school football matchups that matter most to you. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen or tune in wherever you might be tuning in on YouTube or all streaming platforms as well. Very excited to bring you Kirby's Kickoff each and every week with a huge thanks to our sponsors as well. Some of the matchups coming up here in week number one: the Warren County Wildcats hosting Rock Ridge, the Handley Judges traveling to Eastern View, the Strasburg Rams coming off the huge state title run, falling one game short. They're playing Skyline. And then a matchup that hasn't really been a regular season matchup in a while, as the James Wood Colonels travel to face Clarke County. So all very exciting matchups coming up on the docket come tonight, Friday night, under the lights. And here on Kirby's Kickoff, we will cover it all for you leading up to those matchups. Once again, I'm Josh Kirby. You're tuned in to Kirby's Kickoff. Let's have a great show. We're going to take a quick break. We're back with so much more right after this. Frederick County Parks and Recreation is the title sponsor of Kirby on Sports. Frederick County Parks and Rec offers a wide variety of athletics and activities for people of all ages. Check out upcoming musical acts at Sunset Series at the amphitheater behind Bowman Library. You can also sign your pet up for the charity dog walk and pool party taking place on September 6th. For more information on any athletics or activities Frederick County Parks and Recreation has to offer, you can visit their website at fcprd.net. Here on Kirby's Kickoff, the Sherando Warriors defeat Amherst County 41-0. Now let's check in with the head coach of the Warriors, TJ Rohrabel, on their win against Amherst County. Coach, a Thursday game, it seemed like everything went right for this team. How huge is it getting a statement win against a tough team this early in the season?
Well, you know, our approach to everything is we're going to enjoy it tonight, but we're going to get to film tomorrow morning. We're going to fix all the mistakes, and we're going to put this behind us, man. Whether you win or lose, I always preach to our guys, you put what happened out here on, well, I guess it's Thursday night. I usually say Friday night. We're going to put what happened out here tonight behind us, you know, when we get there and start watching film tomorrow. You know, I'm happy for our kids. They deserve that feeling. They put in a lot of hard work, but, you know, this is in the rearview mirror Friday morning.
Not necessarily to say your team forced the turnovers, but Amherst putting the ball on the ground in your defense, knowing where the ball is to pick it up. How huge was that aspect of the game in general and just the rest of the defense?
Well, I mean, turnovers are a big part of the game. I think we had 0 turnovers on offense, and we created a lot of turnovers on defense. And, you know, anytime you can win the turnover battle, you give yourself an opportunity to win, and we were able to do that tonight.
Offensively, running back scoring 3 touchdowns. His name is escaping me, but in Jacob Henry, 2 rushing for that long touchdown as well. Some explosive plays offensively. What stood out to you?
You know, we were just, you know, we were executing out there on offense. We really lacked that in our 2 scrimmages. You know, we left a lot of things on the table in our scrimmage. I didn't think we were clicking quite like the way we should on offense, but, you know, we were able to put some things together out there tonight, and we took a step in the right direction, but we got to keep getting better on the offensive side of the ball.
For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Welcome back to Kirby's Kickoff. We're powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. So glad you're with us to break down week number 1 before the local area matchups across the Shenandoah Valley and beyond when it comes to high school football. We're going to take a look at 2 matchups a little bit more in depth, the Strasburg Rams and the Skyline Hawks, and the James Wood Colonels and the Clarke County Eagles. Coming up first, my interview with Ryan Rutherford of the River 95.3. My conversation with Ryan Rutherford coming up next. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. It's Kirby's Kickoff. So glad you're with us. I'm Josh Kirby. Pleased to be joined probably each and every week as well by the Duke, Ryan Rutherford, on the River 95.3. He has the high school football game of the week on the River week number 1. It's Strasburg and Skyline. And on the side of Strasburg, just coming off the state title game, falling to Graham, but the title defense starts week 1 against Skyline for the Strasburg Rams team, Ryan.
Yeah, they'll look to, of course, defend that region title and maybe try to make their way back to Salem. But yeah, it was a great season for Strasburg last year. They do have a ton of talent coming back from that squad, so I think they should be really optimistic with their chances going into this season. Of course, they do have some huge losses as well. Probably one of the best players in the area last year, Takai Coates, has since graduated. He was just such a huge piece for that Strasburg offense, uh, not just on the offensive side of the ball, but also on defense. He led the team in interceptions through the postseason, so that's going to be big. They'll also lose Riley Walker. Those are probably two of the fastest players on the team as well, so that could hurt the team speed coming into this season. But when you look across, especially the offensive line for Strasburg, it may be every single starter across that line, maybe one or two changes, but they have got a lot of talent coming back there. Hudson Conrad, maybe my favorite defensive lineman in the area. He is just a madman on that side of the ball, just getting after the quarterback, making tackles in the backfield, drawing multiple blockers' attention. He is just absolutely incredible. Had to fight through some injuries last year, but he looks like he should be ready to go. And then in the backfield, Quincy Williams and Lincoln Bosworth, they are certainly ready to take over that load from Takai Coates. Quincy Williams had some great games running the ball, did have some fumbling issues at times. So hopefully that is something that they have corrected with him in the offseason. And then also, it never hurts to have a starting quarterback back for his 3rd year. Braden Huff had some starting time since, I believe, his sophomore year and now ready for his senior season. So yeah, a lot of great things coming back for Strasburg to build off of an already great last season.
On the other side of the football, it's the Skyline Hawks. I know you've covered some Skyline games as well. What are you seeing early on from Skyline down there? I've seen some video of their early days of camp with a lot of energy, but haven't really been able to dive into anything specific. But what can you tell us, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, as excited I am about Strasburg coming into this season, I am also just as excited about Skyline. And Strasburg coming in at Class 2, Skyline at Class 3, so they would not see each other down the road in the playoffs or anything like that. But Skyline has a ton of talent coming back this year. They do lose their quarterback from last year, Nate Ballard, who had a very strong arm and was really solid at that position. But they do have Deshaun Haley taking over the position. He brings a little more athleticism, can make some things happen with his legs. And I've heard he's been doing great in 7-on-7 at that role. But really, their offense all starts and ends with Zayden Burks. He is probably the most dynamic football player in the region this year. Even when you go to the Class 4 schools, I would probably put my money on Zayden Burks versus anybody. He is incredible, already drawing the attention from some very high Division I schools. So I'm intrigued to see where he ends up. And he was the leading rusher in the area last year with over 1,600 yards. I believe it was 13 or 14 total touchdowns. So he's just a human highlight reel, and he makes people look silly. He's got the video game moves. He's got the spin move, the jukes, the hurdles. He truly has it all. And then he gets to run behind an entire offensive line that returns for this season. All 5 starters are back for Skyline. They probably have some of their best depth along the offensive line as well. And that line is anchored by Captain Barrett Stevens. He is going to be playing on Saturdays down the road, but whether it's at the D2 level or wherever, but he has been incredible at Skyline. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that offensive line just making some big holes for Zayden Burks. And with that combination of the running ability for Deshaun Haley, it's going to be a really tough offense to slow down. And then their receivers are huge. They have Marcus Lockhart Wright, who will line up at tight end or the slot, and he is just a big 6-foot plus basketball type body. And they also have lining up across from him often Andre Ford, who's also a captain, leading tackler on the defensive side of the ball, but can certainly make things happen with the ball in his hands and is also a pretty big target on the outside. So I'm very excited for that Skyline offensive side of the ball. Defensive line, they bring back all the starters as well. So it's going to be, I think, a really good season for Skyline, but they're going to have to hit the ground running. They have probably the toughest start to the schedule of any team in the area. They're playing, of course, Strasburg, the Class 2 state runner-up. Then next week, they play Kettle Run, the Class 3 state runner-up. And then the next week, they play Handley. So it's going to be a very tough schedule for Skyline to get started. And even if they do fall in even potentially all 3 of those games, they're going to have to keep their heads up and stay focused the rest of the season. They struggled early in the season last year, went 1-3 through their first 4 games before winning 7 straight and making the playoffs. So they have some experience in overcoming that adversity, but I'm sure they would like to get out of the blocks a lot hotter this year.
And it just seems like in this matchup, Strasburg and Skyline, both sides returning some pieces that could be crucial in the gameplay. So, I mean, you don't really want to say it, but at the same time, this sounds like this could be a really exciting matchup to broadcast.
Oh yeah, especially for week 1, you get a lot of teams often around the schedules that aren't as familiar with each other, a lot of non-district games and stuff. Of course, this is a non-district games and teams playing out of their classifications, but I do think they have just so many similarities. And I mean, you're probably not going to see a high school game with better offensive and defensive line play than this game next week. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
High school football's back. Aren't you excited?
Oh man, I'm so excited. I'm ready to get back into the routine and just getting out there on Fridays, the environment around the stadium. I know some states have already started high school football, so they're already ready and on the way. And I'm a little jealous of them right now. I wish we had a game tonight.
Yeah, but Ryan Rutherford, the River 95.3, has the call with his broadcast partner, Randy Woodward. So glad he can join us on Kirby's Kickoff. Ryan, really appreciate your time, and we'll catch you down the line.
Yes, sir.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, and we're back right after this.
Hey there, Kirby on Sports with Podcast fans. Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here for you. Remember, if you have any real estate needs, buying or selling, I'm your guy. I would love to help you out. And you can also find me on my own personal podcast, Iconic Talk, where you get a chance to learn about the local real estate market and why Winchester is an amazing place to live. Reach out to me anytime, 540-247-1527, and find Iconic Talk anywhere you get your podcasts.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. James Wood and Clarke County square off tonight at Wilbur M. Feltner Stadium in Berryville, Virginia. James Wood Colonels obviously returning a lot of key pieces from last season with a very successful season falling in the first round to the Sherando Warriors in the playoffs. In Clarke County, a very young team this year. Coming up next, my conversation with Dan Gloster, Winchesters Classic Country 95.7. We'll do a recap of all the area schools last year and touch on the matchup that Dan is calling tonight. James Wood and Clarke County coming up next on Kirby's Kickoff.
Located right here in Winchester, Virginia, Barrett Pest and Termite Services celebrates 25 years of service in 2022. And our veteran staff has over 100 years of combined experience preventing and remediating pest and termite infestations. From ants and termites on the ground to mosquitoes, yellow jackets, and hornets in the air, to one-time corrective services for rodents, to ongoing maintenance, Barrett does the job for residential and commercial customers. We also offer discounts for seniors, first responders, and military. What's bugging you? Let us know today, and we'll be out before you know it. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
It's Kirby's Kickoff. So glad that you are with us getting set for week one, high school football. Always a pleasure to be joined each and every week on Kirby's Kickoff by the voice of high school football on Winchesters Classic Country 95.7, Dan Gloster. And Dan, my friend, Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Josh.
Yes,
Well.
yes.
Happy football. Happy football.
Is it one of those that do you find the first week of high school football like a Christmas morning thing or more of a Happy New Year type of thing?
Probably more of the former, although I'm always nervous because of the equipment, and what's gonna happen or maybe not happen. But it's cool. Getting excited about it.
It's been a long hiatus for us both leading up to this moment, and just look at some of the area schools because you call the area schools in Sherando, Handley, Millbrook, James Wood, and Clarke County. So just starting off, I know that last season, let's just take a look around the area, then we'll get into your matchup, Dan. But last season, it was Clarke falling to Madison County in the first round of the playoffs. I believe that was a game you had as well. But Clarke finishing off the season, not the best. Some injuries along the way as well. But Clarke County, this was a game we expected them to come out and win the second time around, but ended up getting upset by Madison County in the playoffs.
Well, it was the perfect storm of if anything bad can happen, it will. I believe it was Tanner Sipe, senior quarterback, did something to his hand and was just actually that happened earlier, and then it got aggravated, I'm pretty sure, in the game, and he was, they needed him badly, and that just led to they just couldn't move the ball on Madison, who had just played Clarke the week before, and they put up 35 on Clarke County, but Clarke got like 47 points to finish the regular season undefeated. But just everything went wrong for Clarke. I mean, it's not an excuse. It's just what happened. And Casey Childs said that was a real tough pill to swallow, but sometimes those things happen. So, that's the way it ended for Clarke last year. Going to be really young this year, according to, talking to Casey and the Winchester Star and that kind of thing. So those articles, previews of the team. So it'll be an interesting year for Clarke County, Josh, for sure. But yeah, definitely a very disappointing end to an undefeated regular season.
Absolutely. Looking at one of the area teams who maybe surprise some people, the Sherando Warriors, and they make a charge all the way to the state playoffs, falling to Phoebus. And even with that game in Phoebus, the scoreline didn't really indicate how tough the Sherando Warriors team played against the Phoebus Phantoms team, who are known year in and year out making it to the state title game. But Shenandoah had a very, very incredible season last year.
Yeah, Region D champions. Um, they probably went a lot further than maybe even they would think that they could have, although I'm sure everybody in that locker room was like, we can, and they were a stacked team, no doubt. They were a stacked team, but able to beat Jefferson Forest, then Salem. Salem actually came up to Sherando and Sherando, even without Micah Carlson, actually, that was the Jefferson Forest game when he got knocked out. Jacob Henry is going to be the quarterback this year for the Warriors. He came in and led them, helped them get that victory. I mean, and nobody beat Phoebus. They ended up winning the Class 4 state championship. So, definitely, it was, they realistically probably went about as far as they did, but what a fantastic season for Sherando. Looking at them this year, they lost a decent amount of talent, but there's a lot of pride on that team, and you can't tell those kids that are coming back that that they're going to be down because Sherando really doesn't. They just pretty much reload, as they say. They don't have down years very often, but it'll be interesting to see how they come together as a team after having a lot of really good talent leave the program, but they've got some good kids coming back. Jared C is a starting center, 4-year starter. You got Pete Carter, who missed a decent amount of time last year, but came back for the stretch run in the playoffs. And Coach Warbaugh said he was instrumental in that playoff run. And there's a lot of other kids that I'm not naming, but there's definitely some good talent coming back. So it'll be interesting to see how Sherando fares this year.
In the game in Salem that decided who played Sherando, the Handley judges fell to Salem with a backup quarterback in Jack Prosser, who has now graduated. But the Handley judges had a lot of success last season, obviously not where they wanted to end up due to the injury to quarterback Tristan Darling, but a lot of success this Handley Judges team had, losing Hassan Akanbi, though, and Jay Sean Offit on that line. But you look, this Handley Judges team does have some weapons returning.
Most definitely. They got Jaquan Offit coming back, a younger brother of Jay Sean, Jameer Washington. They've got some other skill players. And that game probably sticks in the craw of the returning Handley players because with Asana Kanbi getting 241 yards by halftime, but then on, I think the second to the last play of the half, because we were there, Tim Mondell and I went down hard on his shoulder and ended up he couldn't play in the second half. That was, I mean, you don't know, Josh, but I mean, if he plays the rest of the second half, I'm hard pressed to say that they're going to win that game. But again, that's not the way it happened. But still, but yeah, they'll have some holes to fill, and not having Tristan Darling again this year due to an unfortunate injury over the summer. That's gonna make that line play that much more critical because Darling could just make a lot of things happen. Just a fantastic player, and we wish him the best. And again, not sure what he's going to do. I've heard that he could come back in October, but I don't know if it might just be that they think we're going to just get him as healthy as possible and wait till his junior year to play again. Again, that's all up in the air. I don't know the answer to that, but Handley's gonna, they're gonna be ready though, no doubt. Jake Smith is ready for the season, and the kids are as well. They open at Eastern View on the 29th. So just like Sherando lose a lot of talent, it'll be interesting to see how they come together as the season progresses.
Looking at another team out of Winchester, Virginia, the Millbrook Pioneers last season, a season that it was filled with some injuries. And I know you had a game last year, Millbrook and Skyline ended up upsetting the Millbrook Pioneers. Looking to this year, former head coach Josh Haymore resigns and he takes a job at Strasburg as an assistant. First year head coach Nick Manuel steps into the program, seems to be already in a short time changing a culture at Millbrook High School. This team could be throwing some different stuff too out there, to say the least, Dan. But the Millbrook Pioneers, with a new coach, some younger talent, and some growing talent there as well.
Mhm. Yep, and anytime you get a new coach, you kind of maybe get a little bit of a boost of adrenaline, of some new hunger, and sure the kids were excited for that, and it seems like they've taken to Coach Manuel and vice versa. Um, so yeah, they've got looks like they're gonna kind of pardon the pun, they're gonna veer away from the single wing. Not that they're gonna run the veer. I think they're gonna actually they're gonna open it up a little bit more. A couple of basketball players, excuse me, Keon Lewis and Riley Baker, they're gonna vie for the starting quarterback position. Who knows? They might play them both. But sounds like they've got some talent at that position and some talent at the wide receiver position, according to Coach Manuel. So that'll be interesting. They've got a tough schedule though. I mean, they open up Valley, they go to Heritage. I know Valley's got some experience. I'm not sure about Heritage. They play Loudoun County. Of course, you got Sherando, you got Handley they got to play. So their schedule is not easy at all. I think Skyline's in there as well. So, but I'm sure that they're going to be ready to go. Nick Manuel is no stranger to success. He was the defensive coordinator for Sherando last year, and I believe was Sherando for about 5 years. So he knows winning football, and I bet it won't take long to see his stamp on that program.
Absolutely. And saving one of the most unique programs, Todd Wilson's James Wood Colonels, probably losing only two seniors last year, with pretty much everybody returning, and James Wood with a 7-3 record this year. They're poised, it looks like, to have a pretty good season as well. And going into your first matchup, the James Wood Colonels and the Clarke County Eagles, the
Right.
first time that these two have been playing in quite some time.
Yeah, it's fun to get these local matchups kind of back. I remember it's been a good while since Clarke County played Millbrook, and I kind of named it the Route 7 rivalry. And they haven't played since, but I think it was a home and home, and it was great for the area football fans and for James Wood and Clarke to renew. They haven't played a lot, but to renew that matchup, that's going to be fun. It'll be at Clarke County, and this is year 3. And I was thinking about this, Josh. We've got 3 coaches locally entering their 3rd year as the head coach. Jake Smith, TJ Rohrbaugh, and Todd Wilson, all in their 3rd year. Then you got Nick Manuel his 1st year. That leaves the elder statesman of the area coaches, Casey Childs. He's been at Clarke for a good long time, I'm sure more than 3 years. But he knows how to coach winning football, and that'll be a fun one. I think it's going to come down to James Wood. What Todd Wilson told me is in year 3 of the program, they're stronger, and in a lot of cases, they're faster than they were in year 1. So the kids have really bought into the conditioning that they're stressing in the off-season programs. Whereas you got Clarke County, a young team with only one returning offensive lineman from last year, and a lot of talent that has since graduated or left the program. So that'll be an interesting one. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Clarke gives them a heck of a battle, and you know they've got a good chance to win the game. But that'll be a fun one, which we will have. I'll be broadcasting that game on that Friday, the 29th.
Here's how I see it, Dan. You cannot discount Coach Childs and his coaching staff at Clarke County due to the fact with the amount of success that they've had. They
No
know
doubt.
how to operate a program, and you can't discount that just because everybody says this Clarke County team is going to be young. James Wood, 7-3 last season with most of their returners back. This is why I think this should be a very prime matchup on Friday night between Wood and Clarke.
And you throw in the fact that the single wing is an offense that you don't see very often. Although one advantage that James Wood normally wouldn't have with a game during the season against a single wing offense is that it's the opener. So they've had a chance to watch a lot of film, to prepare, other than just the 2 or 3 days in practice that you would normally get in a week, a regular week schedule. So, you know, that's something to remember. But again, Clarke County, they've been running that single wing for as long as I can remember. So James Wood better be ready to know how to defend it because they can really throw some wrinkles to you with that offense, and they can make it a long night. They can just keep the ball away from you, and so it'll be a fun one between James Wood and Clarke County.
Absolutely. And in closing, week 1 of high school football, that air just starts to change. That's when the fun begins. It's going to be a lot of fun. And once again, Dan Gloster, Winchesters Classic Country, 95.7 will be joining us week in and week out on Kirby's Kickoff. Dan, my friend, thank you so much for the time and wishing you all the best. It's great to reconnect with you.
All right, man. Appreciate it. The man, the myth, the legend is Josh Kirby. So check out his Kirby on Sports podcast, and appreciate the time.
And as always, we are back with more Kirby's Kickoff in a moment. Stick right here with us.
It's Jason, General Manager at Shenandoah Music, here to tell you all about...
Jay, what are you doing here?
Well, Matt, I'm trying to tell the people about our selection of guitars, basses, keyboards, drum sets.
I know that, but I always do the radio spots.
You get to have all the fun. I want to tell everyone about our huge selection, unbeatable prices, unmatched service, and in-depth knowledge.
Jay, I really don't think now is the time to discuss.
So remember, folks, when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester.
That's my line.
Welcome back to Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. So glad you're with us. I'm your host, Josh Kirby, and a huge thanks to Ryan Rutherford and Dan Gloster for their time on Kirby's Kickoff. Looking forward to connecting with them throughout the course of the season, a very long high school football season, as we have reached week number 1. Now let's get into some other matchups and get some interviews with local coaches from across the area. First and foremost, my conversation with the head coach of the John Handley Judges, Jake Smith, as the Handley Judges travel down to face Eastern View tonight in Culpeper. We'll hear from Coach Smith right after this. Are you looking to take the final steps in order to get your driver's license? Look no further. On the Road Driving School offers teen and adult driving, along with classroom sessions for teens and adults, DMV re-exam classes, and driver improvement classes. On the Road Driving School has what you need in order to get on the road. Contact them today at 540-869-6105. That's On the Road Driving School. 540-869-6105. On the Road Driving School will get you on the road. It's Kirby's Kickoff. The Handley Judges travel down to face Eastern View out of Culpeper tonight. Joining me, the head coach of the John Handley Judges, Jake Smith. Coach, great to be with you, sir, from the last time we spoke in the early days of camp to now with 2 scrimmages in the book. How do you think your team has progressed from then to now to get ready for the start of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had 2 pretty good showings in the scrimmages as far as the things that we were looking for. I mean, obviously, you're not game planning for a scrimmage or anything of that nature, but we want to see some physicality and flying around in the first scrimmage. And then the second scrimmage, obviously is a 3-quarter game simulation with no live specials. So, really just kind of honing in on, situational football and third down and things of that nature. And again, I thought our kids did a great job of responding to that task as well. And so now we're heading into game week. And so this week's going to look a little bit different as far as practice structure is concerned and preparing for Eastern View. But I think we're heading in the right direction right now.
And yeah, I know you have a good group of returning players on your team, Coach, but has anybody unexpected sort of caught your eye who could make an impact come week 1 against Easternville?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, the addition of, Amari Brown and, Isaiah playing corner for us. 2 basketball players transitioning into football. I think they've just continued to excel this camp and they're getting more experience under their belt. And each day they get more experience, they get more comfortable. And when that happens, they play faster. And so, I think those 2 guys are really exciting, new faces for us, offensively and defensively.
And looking offensively, your team last year had a lot of explosion and a lot of speed. I know Hassan graduating. You don't have Jay Sean up on the line. But how do you look at yourself and the coaching staff to sort of keep that explosive offense with the pieces that you have currently going into tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think, any year, when you're looking at offensive side of the football, you want to try to generate explosive plays. And for us, that's a run of 10 or more yards or a pass of 15 or more yards. And so, I think we have a lot of really athletic kids that are good in space. And so, it's just our job as a staff to sit down and figure out, what do we need to change systematically to make sure that we can get as many guys involved on offense as possible. And I think so far, we've done a good job of that through practice. And so, we'll really be able to get a good dose of it this Friday at Eastern View.
And as a staff coach, looking at a team that you aren't really familiar with, who you haven't played in your full tenure as coach here at Handley, but what is that like sort of preparing for an opponent you're not usually used to seeing? And what are you seeing and what are sort of your keys to victory tonight?
I think with Eastern View, number one, historically, they've been a really solid program and have had a ton of success when, Coach Hatfield was there. And so now, Don Joy has moved in. He was offensive coordinator at Stafford last season, and they put a bunch of points on the board, 50 points regularly. And so he's transitioned that same system from Stafford to Eastern View. And so we've got to take these 2 scrimmages seriously and evaluate them and, try to prevent explosive plays, on the defensive side of the football. But they have a great scheme. They do a lot of RPO stuff. They read somebody on every single play. And so the test for us will be, do we have great eye discipline defensively, and can we match the RPOs? And then, on the flip side of things, they play an odd front, on defense, which means they're going to bring a lot of pressure. And so we got 3 new faces up front in the offensive line, and we're going to have to make sure that we can handle that pressure, play in and play out on Friday.
It's Handley and Eastern View to open up the regular season for the John Handley Judges, led by head coach Jake Smith. Coach, as always, really appreciate your time with us.
Yep, thanks for having me.
This is Kirby's Kickoff. We're back with more right after this. Fall is here, and Nulook Landscaping has everything your home needs to look its best. Brighten your yard with colorful mums available now. And don't forget, Nulook offers professional power washing to give your home a fresh, clean look. Call Nulook Landscaping today at 540-327-1244 or email them 2025.nulook@gmail.com. Welcome back to Kirby's Kickoff. I'm your host, Josh Kirby, and we are powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. The Warren County Wildcats hosting Rock Ridge tonight, and we've decided to expand. First time hearing from Warren County Wildcats head coach Josh Breeden, a former football player for the Warren County Wildcats as well, now the head coach. Coming up next, we will hear from Coach Breeden and his thoughts on his Wildcats team leading into their matchup against Rock Ridge in Front Royal, Virginia. That comes your way next. Frederick County Parks and Recreation is the title sponsor of Kirby on Sports. Frederick County Parks and Rec offers a wide variety of athletics and activities for people of all ages. Check out upcoming musical acts at Sunset Series at the amphitheater behind Bowman Library. You can also sign your pet up for the charity dog walk and pool party taking place on September 6th. For more information on any athletics or activities Frederick County Parks and Recreation has to offer, you can visit their website at fcprd.net. It's Kirby's Kickoff, another matchup we are looking at for this Friday night. The Warren County Wildcats host Rock Ridge out of Loudoun County. Pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Warren County Wildcats, Josh Breeden. Coach, thanks for being with us.
Glad to be here, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. So, first and foremost, just can you touch on a little bit about the off season, the work you put in with you and your squad after last season, and what really excites you most about your team?
Yeah, I have a young squad. A few freshmen up on varsity, a lot of sophomores, and then a lot of juniors. I have less than 10 seniors this year. So, definitely a young group, but the guys have been working hard in the weight room. We averaged about 45 in the weight room every day this summer. That's the best offseason we've had since I became the head coach. A lot of explosive athletes, a lot of really talented guys, smart guys, football guys. I think that Warren County is in a good position to take a really good step this year.
And you mentioned the youth of your team, and sometimes that doesn't translate right away, but when players are in your system for 3-4 years, that could really mean great things long term for the program too. Am I right?
Absolutely. These are guys that I think getting the varsity experience at such a young age is definitely going to be the best teacher. You learn best from experience. So, they're definitely going to go out and make mistakes, and that's just going to happen. That's part of being young and part of the learning experience. But as they make those mistakes, they'll learn from them and they'll be better afterwards. And this group is going to be a group that's going to be together for 2-3 years to come. And, Warren County is going to be a force to reckon with when these guys are, juniors and seniors.
Absolutely, but just looking in the moment now, you have some returners like Blaze Scooby, to name one person who really made an impact for you all last year. What does that mean? Something to have some of those returners back on the squad to sort of help the younger guys when they might need help or know how your system operates with Warren County football.
Well, it definitely helps to have some of those older guys that have had success. Blaze is a guy that these young guys look up to and they want to be like him. They aspire to have the numbers and everything that he puts up every season. And, guys like Bryce Bergman, our quarterback returning from last year, is a great leader. He's a guy that was in the weight room every single day. He'll be a junior this year. So, he's still kind of on the younger side if you count guys younger than a senior. But, he put on 30 pounds this offseason. He did all the right things. He did all the right work. Nick Harlow coming back as a wide receiver is a kid that he's been on varsity since he was a freshman, and he stepped into a leadership role, and he's a really explosive athlete, and the attention to detail is everything for him. And that's really good for those young guys to see is how much attention to detail you have to have and how hard you have to work every day at practice.
Absolutely, Coach. So week one right around the corner, and you all have Rock Ridge hosting Rock Ridge to start the season. I mean, just your thoughts going into this matchup from what you've seen out of your team going into this game. What do you think your team needs to fine-tune and execute in order to get the victory tonight?
Well, I think the guys are hungry first and foremost. Warren County is not going 1-0 to begin a season for 10 years. So I was actually a senior on the field at Warren County the last time they started the season 1-0. That was in 2015. So, it's been 10 years. It's been a long time. I think Warren County's due, to have a good opening night. But we have to do our job. We have to play good football, and it starts up front, both sides of the ball, offensive and defensively. The offensive line, defensive line, we have to win the line of scrimmage. If we can win the line of scrimmage, then everybody else's job becomes that much easier. So that's been a point of emphasis all preseason, is winning the line of scrimmage. Skill guys, just doing your job. On defense, don't try to be a hero. Do your job and let the guys around you do their job, and we'll be successful. 11 hats to the ball, and just fly around and have fun doing it.
And looking at Rock Ridge, what's sort of your evaluation on what they bring to the table, and what would you like to see your team do to try to stop them in some assets of the game?
They're going to be well coached. Mark Teague is actually a good friend of mine. He came over from Manassas Park. He was at Manassas Park the last 2 years and decided to jump on a new opportunity at Rock Ridge. But he's a really good friend of mine. He and I have communicated all summer long, just talking about our programs and things that we're trying to do and accomplish. I think he's going to run a lot of triple option. So we have to, be sound on our assignments on defense, make sure we have everybody accounted for, quarterback, running back, and their dive guy. They have a really good receiver on the outside, number 5. He can beat us deep if we're not watching him, keeping eyes on him. So he's definitely a guy we got to account for. And then defensively, they fly around, man. They got some thumpers. Their defensive ends are fast off the ball, so we got to make sure that, we're out to get pass protection, pick them up quickly. Their linebackers fly downhill, and their secondary guys are smooth with their transition in the run game, pass game. So, again, it's going to start in the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. I think we have a really good plan in place to attack these guys, and hopefully Blaze Scooby has himself a night.
Absolutely. And it's sort of off the field, you mentioned you were on that team 10 years ago when Warren County started the season 1-0. From a player attending Warren County to now being the head coach of the football team, I know you're a couple years in, but just what's that emotion like? You're giving back to the program you once were a part of as a player, now as a head coach.
It's a dream come true every day, man. You sit in the locker room as a player and you have, that thought always creeps into your mind of what if I came back and helped out here. And, I was presented the opportunity to leave John Handley a couple years and come back to Warren County, and came back, was the defensive coordinator for 2 years, and then was handed the keys to the program, and I know the last 2 years record-wise have not gone the way we wanted it to, but, we've been slowly building in the right direction, and, we're getting closer and closer to my goal every day. And I think this year is a good year for us to take a big step, and that's all I want, is to give these guys, the best opportunity that I can give them, the same thing that I wanted when I was sitting exactly where they're sitting today, which is a coach that cares about them and a coach that wants nothing more than for them to be successful. So, I push them every day and, tell them I love them and coach them up. It was only 10 years ago I was sitting right where they're sitting. The emotions are crazy. Every time I walk into that locker room, I feel like I'm, 16, 17, 18 again. So, it's not very often that, a coach or a teacher can look at a student or a player and say, I know what you're feeling and know exactly what they're feeling, and I can. And I take a lot of pride in that and a lot of responsibility in that to give them the best opportunity that I can.
It is Warren County hosting Rock Ridge, part of Week 1 coverage across the Valley. High school football is back. Pleased to be joined by head coach of the Warren County Wildcats, Josh Breeden. Coach, really appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you very much. Go Cats.
This is Kirby's Kickoff. We're back with more in a moment. Stick right here with us. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Back here with you, Kirby's Kickoff. I'm your host, Josh Kirby, and we're powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. Continuing with Kirby's Kickoff, getting you set for week number 1. Strasburg and Skyline match up this evening, and that should be a very exciting matchup between two very physical teams, the Strasburg Rams and the Skyline Hawks. Coming up next, my preview of this game, my conversation with the head coach of the Skyline Hawks, Heath Gilbert, and the head coach of the Strasburg Rams, Trip Lamb. That comes your way next, right here on Kirby's Kickoff. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. It's Kirby's Kickoff. Once again, I'm your host, Josh Kirby. The Skyline Hawks and the Strasburg Rams face off week 1 tonight. Pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Skyline Hawks, Coach Heath Gilbert. Coach, really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So, just take me through. I know it's probably been a long camp for you and your team, and you have a lot of seniors on your team this upcoming season. What stands out to you about your team in your group of guys going into week 1?
Well, I've been really proud of the progress that we made, especially once we cleared the spring seasons. Once we got to have all of our boys together, we really had a productive summer with the 7-on-7s, the weight sessions, the on-the-field work. Like you said, we have some veterans on our team, not just our seniors, but our junior class. We have a really strong group between the seniors and juniors, and it was like hit the ground running with the execution and what we were able to do and accomplish this summer. So we're super excited about the work that they put in.
Yeah, and when you mention a veteran core of seniors and juniors as well, I would imagine they can help the coaching staff out as well when it comes to just leadership, not just on the field, but off the field as well.
Yeah, we refer that to a brotherhood. Our culture is about effort and brotherhood, and we encourage our kids to help mold and teach the young kids the way that we want them not only just to practice, but how to learn, and little things that they might say as a teenager might be a little different than how I say it as a 50-year-old coach. So that connection between our leaders and their ability to teach the young guys is really important in our program.
So getting ready, I do you like how the schedule's laid out this year, Coach, with a week 1 matchup against a team who just came off a state title run, falling to Graham in the Class 2 state championship? And if so, what's that like to get a big test in Strasburg week 1?
Yeah, so the schedule is what it is. We want to play Strasburg. We know they're a tough opponent, but it's local. It makes a lot of sense for us to play. Like playing Central again is awesome because these are local games, and why are we traveling all over the place when we have such good programs near us? So let's get it on. Obviously Strasburg's a very talented team, and we know that. We know what we have in front of us and the challenge that they are, and what it's going to mean for us to be able to compete against a team like that, because I don't care what division you're in, Division 2 or Division 4 or 5, whatever, Strasburg can compete with anybody. And so if we're able to do that as well, that says a lot about our kids.
And what are you looking at offensively and defensively for your team that could really make an impact in this game? And sort of what are your keys to victory?
So it all starts up front, no matter who you're playing. Being able to run the ball and stop the run, and Strasburg does a really good job of that, not only schematically, but the kids that they have on their roster. And we have to match that. I mean, we have to be physical. There's no way that you can play a team like that without doing the dirty work, putting your hands on the guy across from you. If our kids are running all upfield and they're not reading their keys, it's going to be a tough night for us. So we have to be disciplined. We have to be tough, and it's going to be a war for 4 quarters for sure.
And how huge is it, Coach, that you have a key piece who's been a weapon for you for quite some time, and Zayden Burks up there to help you as well?
I mean, he's a talented young man. He's just as recently voted captain as a junior, which is a great honor for him. He deserves it. He sets the standard as far as how hard we want to work and practice. He's becoming out of his shell a little bit as a vocal leader too, which is something I kind of challenged him in the offseason for him to do. And he's definitely stepped that up because when you got a kid that can do it and he does a great job with his grades and how he conducts himself in the hallway and then how good he is on the field, in the practice field, in the locker room, those are the boys that you want leading our charge, and he fits that bill.
It should be a fun matchup. The Skyline Hawks and the Strasburg Rams to open up the regular season. Skyline Hawks head coach Heath Gilbert joining me. Coach, really appreciate the time. Great to connect with you.
Thank you.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, and we're back with more right after this.
Hey there, Kirby on Sports Podcast fans. Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here for you. Remember, if you have any real estate needs, buying or selling, I'm your guy. I would love to help you out. And you can also find me on my own personal podcast, Iconic Talk, where you get a chance to learn about the local real estate market and why Winchester is an amazing place to live. Reach out to me anytime, 540-247-1527, and find Iconic Talk anywhere you get your podcasts.
It's Kirby's Kickoff, another matchup to talk about week number 1. Strasburg and Skyline. Pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Strasburg Rams, Trip Lamb. Coach, appreciate you being with us, sir. And just got to ask, from the time we first spoke, the early days of camp to now, with 2 scrimmages under the team's belt, how much do you think the team has improved from the early days of camp to now leading up to the game against Skyline?
We definitely saw some improvement. The guys have been working hard. We started with almost 60, and we've only lost a couple guys, to attrition. But we're still rocking, we're still rolling, and we saw a ton of improvement from our first scrimmage to our second scrimmage. We played a lot better last Friday than we did the week before, which is to be expected from the first scrimmage to the second scrimmage. And, if we keep improving, I really like our chances to win a couple games this year.
Absolutely. And I know the team, I would say it's tough to say this team isn't hungry to continue where they left off last season. I know there's probably a bitter taste in you all's mouth, even though it is a new season, but it seemed like from camp, the energy is very high, and I assume that energy is only building and building up till the game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we put all the chatter about last year to rest. That's really not something we talk about, and we don't let the kids talk about it. And we're playing a very, very good Skyline team this week, so we're all in and we're focused on beating the Hawks. Because, if we're not all in on them, then we're going to start out 0-1. That's pretty plain.
So, Coach, what do you see out of Skyline that you'd like to see your team sort of hone in on and eliminate them from doing to try to secure the victory tonight?
Well, they're big and strong up front. I think they do a really good job with their combo blocks coming off double teams and things like that. Their skilled players, especially their running back and their quarterback, are extremely dynamic. And we're going to have to make some one-on-one tackles in open field, or it's going to be a long night.
Absolutely. And just offensively and defensively for your team, just the amount of energy, I'll go back to energy again, but it seems like they are a very physical bunch in going into this game. I would imagine it's going to be a very tough and physical game. What do you like offensively and defensively that you can really use to your advantage in the game?
Well, offensively, I mean, we're going to be who we are, and we're going to do what we do. I think that we've got some guys in some different spots this year that's really going to help us. We've had some guys kind of get bigger and stronger, which is obviously always a good thing. And I'm just looking forward to kickoff on Friday. Defensively, we're going to keep doing the same thing we always do, fly around, try to be the most physical team, try to be the smartest team out there, not get misaligned, know what the other team's trying to do, and just fly around and be physical.
Nothing beats game day in Strasburg to open up the regular season, Coach. Am I right?
You're right about that.
Absolutely. Pleased to be joined by Trip Lamb, the head coach of the Strasburg Rams, right here on Kirby's Kickoff. Coach, really appreciate the time. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, man.
Bed bugs. The only thing creepier than thinking about them is actually having them. Trust me, you don't want to have them. Locally owned and operated Barrett Pest and Termite Services can keep you from having bed bug nightmares and infestations. Call 540-340-3922 to schedule your free inspection and consultation. If bed bugs are already in your home, we'll get rid of them so you can rest easy. We also specialize in keeping homes and businesses free of other pests, including rodents and termites. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
This is Kirby's Kickoff. So glad you're with us, getting you set for week number 1 across the Shenandoah Valley when it comes to high school football. So glad that you're with us. We're powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. A big matchup in Berryville, the Jameswood Colonels and the Clarke County Eagles. Coming up next, you'll hear my conversations with both the head coach of the Jameswood Colonels, Todd Wilson, and the head coach of the Clarke County Eagles, Casey Childs. It's set to be a good matchup, Jameswood and Clarke County, and you'll hear my conversation with both Coach Wilson and Coach Childs right after this.
It's Jason, General Manager at Shenandoah Music, here to tell you all about...
Jay, what are you doing here?
Well, Matt, I'm trying to tell the people about our selection of guitars, basses, keyboards, drum sets.
I know that, but I always do the radio spots.
You get to have all the fun. I want to tell everyone about our huge selection, unbeatable prices, unmatched service, and in-depth knowledge.
Jay, I really don't think now is the time to discuss.
So remember, folks, when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester.
That's my line.
It's Kirby's Kickoff. The Jameswood Colonels traveling to Berryville to face the Clarke County Eagles, an out-of-district matchup to open up the season for the Colonels. Joining me is none other than the Colonels head coach, Todd Wilson. And, Coach, thanks for being with us. From the last time we spoke, your first day at camp, from them then to this point leading up to your matchup against Clarke County with 2 scrimmages in the book. How much improvement have you seen out of your team? Because I know in the early days of camp, I know some mistakes are bound to happen, but what have you liked so far from that point to now?
Yeah, we're still getting better. We found out in both scrimmages there were some areas of improvement, some bigger than others. Some were just minor details, little techniques here and there. We're still, rearranging the depth chart, moving pieces around that guys maybe fit. They're still starters, but maybe they fit a little bit better in another position, or, moving guys around here and there. But overall, we still feel pretty good where we're at this time of the season. But there's still a lot of work to be done.
And I know this team with a lot of returners and the energy's high. I know they're probably really looking forward to kicking off the regular season. And what a matchup to start with a non-district opponent in Clarke County who's been known to have a lot of success over the years. And do you like how it shakes out and giving your team a good test in Clarke County come week 1?
Yeah, absolutely. That's, when I know they were putting the schedule together, those kind of come out, a little bit in advance. We wanted to put some teams that are, playoff contenders, sort of every year. situation. Clarke County has a very, very good program over there. They're in the playoffs or making deep runs in the playoffs just about every year. So and it's not a long distance drive. We're there this year. They'll come here next year, but it's not that far of a commute. There's ties within the community, Frederick County and Clarke County. So it should be exciting. It'll be a good environment over there. We went over there last year and scrimmaged them. They had a good environment just for that scrimmage alone. So I know Friday night's going to be a good atmosphere as well there in Clarke County.
So looking yourself and the coaching staff on both sides of the ball for your Colonels football team, what do you really like out of your team on both sides of the football that you would like to sort of utilize in a sense in order to try to get the victory tonight?
We do have returning starters in a lot of key positions on the offense. We're still looking for spots. The big question mark was our center. We lost a senior center, so that's where everything starts with the snap. Limiting bad snaps or poor blocking assignments out of the center position is key. But then our skill guys, we have a lot of returning skill guys. Xander Manzo is a returner. Caden McCullough is a returner. Xavier Price is a returner. Adric Urish has been playing really well at that other receiver position for us. And then obviously Owen Neal coming into his third season as a junior starter. We look for him to have a big season this year. He's worked really hard, and all those guys have. So, look for the skill guys, but it all starts up front. If you don't have good blocking, Owen's not going to be able to get the ball off, to those receivers. And then same thing in the run game. If they're not doing their job up front, the run game isn't going to get going to be able to open up some pass plays. So, it's kind of a coach speak, but we're going to rely on all 11 guys out there on the field. And then defensively, they like to do what they like to do. They're not a spread pass team. Like, we like to spread it out and throw the ball around a little bit. Clarke County is going to come out and what they do, try to establish the line of scrimmage, run the ball. And that's where we got to win too, is up front. We got to, win the line of scrimmage on the defensive side and let those guys in the back end read their keys and make plays.
And how refreshing is it? And I know everybody talks about the quarterback position, but you have numerous returners, including Owen at the quarterback position, that are veterans that know how your system works. How refreshing is that to have a core group of those guys back with you who know your system come week one, where you really don't have to explain as much? They can just sit right in and it comes to them naturally in a sense.
Yeah, there's stuff we're not having to spend quite as much time on. A couple years ago and even last year, just take the receivers, for example. We were still teaching starts and stance, how to get off the ball, what foot needs to be up, how to read a defense. We're not having to do that this year. So we're able to focus more on, more technique and how to run crisper routes and stuff. So it's refreshing. We're still teaching all that stuff, just not having to spend as much time on it.
Absolutely. It's the James Wood Colonels traveling to Berryville to face the Clarke County Eagles tonight. As always, so gracious, first time the head coach of the James Wood Colonels, Coach Todd Wilson. Coach, really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next week, sir.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Josh.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, and we're back with more right after this. Are you looking to take the final steps in order to get your driver's license? Look no further. On the Road Driving School offers teen and adult driving, along with classroom sessions for teens and adults, DMV re-exam classes, and driver improvement classes. On the Road Driving School has what you need in order to get on the road. Contact them today at 540-869-6105. That's On the Road Driving School. 540-869-6105. On the Road Driving School will get you on the road. It's Kirby's Kickoff. The James Wood Colonels travel to face Clarke County at the Felt. Joining me, longtime head coach of the Clarke County Eagles, Casey Childs. Coach, great to see you again, sir. Just first and foremost, from the time we first chatted, the first early days of camp to now, 2 scrimmages under your belt, how much improvement have you seen out of this young Eagles team from that point to now, leading up to regular season week number 1?
Well, obviously, we've seen a lot of progress with the kids, with all the youth that we have. When you lose 20 of 22 starters and the one returning starter you have, and Joseph Stem is actually playing a different position on offense, it really makes it everybody on the offense is brand new. And 10 out of 11 guys on defense are brand new. So it's been progress for sure. And I'd be lying if I just said that we had to slow things down, and we're taking things a little bit slower. And we're trying to stack good days upon good days. And that's the goal of getting better. But we're excited. It's game week. It's the best time of the school year. It's excitement. And all the schools are back in session. And you get high school football, and you get college and pro football right here as well. So it's an exciting time of the year for sure.
Absolutely. You mentioned Joseph Stem. You're pretty much your only returner there. How huge is he? I know he's been spotlighted, and we interviewed him during our media day, but just his leadership role with the team on and off the field.
Well, I can't say enough about the young man. If you're only going to have one senior returning starter, I think you wanted to be a kid like Joseph Stem, who totally understands what his role is, what he needs to do, and also be able to produce the way that he's able to produce. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited what he can get done and accomplish his senior year. And then, lastly, I think he's done a tremendous job of being a vocal leader, and also leading by example on and off the field. He's just a tremendous young man.
Absolutely. So looking at this matchup tonight, Coach, hosting the James Wood Colonels, a team you haven't faced in quite a while. It worked out that you got them back on the schedule tonight. Look at James Wood's success last year, too. It looks like a good early test for your Clarke County Eagles tonight.
Yeah, there's no question we have our work cut out for us. They returned quite a few kids, and they're athletic. They're going to spread us all over the field. The quarterback can definitely throw it. Line has good size on the offensive end, and the receivers can run and catch. There's no question. Running back runs hard as well. We've got to do our best to try to keep the quarterback in the pocket on the zone read game, and we have to limit the big plays. We really do. That's something that we did not do a very good job of in our scrimmage on last Thursday against Loudoun Valley. We've got to play better in space. There's no secret about that. And then defensively, obviously they've got good size, but we've always said if we can get the hat on the right hat and not have mental mistakes, we can move the football on anyone. And that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to play keep away on offense and play well in space and eliminate the big plays. And hopefully we can do those things.
And you mentioned, again, going back to the youth of your team, going through the 2 scrimmages and doing what Clarke does best in the single wing offense. How much growth have you seen from the offense on the offensive side of the ball when it comes to getting into the regular season as well?
Well, it's been progress for sure. And also too, we're still in the process, believe it or not, of figuring out who could probably help us the best in certain positions. I know we've made a couple small adjustments in personnel on offense and defense since the Loudoun Valley scrimmage, and it's going to be trial by error for these kids because they've never seen an ounce of varsity football other than by 2 or 3. And that was I hate to say it, like the kind of mop up time in some games last year. And this is the first truly meaningful snaps. And what our goal going into, to the James Wood game is truly, hopefully that when the lights come on, that we just don't freeze and stare in the lights. And that's what we've been talking about, and we're preaching to them. And there's going to be mistakes. There's no question about it. When you're as young as we are, mistakes will happen. But the biggest thing is we can't let one mistake compound into 3 or 4. We've got to be able to wipe it clean, correct the mistakes, and keep playing football with the understanding that good things and bad things are going to happen, throughout a football game. You just try to limit the bad and try to make as many of the good things as you possibly can. But with that being said, I'm excited about this young group of kids. They're great kids. They work extremely hard, and they will get better each and every week. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
So, Coach, sort of outside the realm of 12 on 12, 11 on 11 on the field, does it feel any different you get to run out on the field besides your son who's coaching with you this year at the varsity level?
Oh, yeah, it's special. I mean, he was a tremendous player for us. He was a three-sport kid, really good football and basketball, or football and baseball player. He was, an average to maybe a little above average basketball player when he was here. But, he's now coaching three sports here at the high school. I couldn't be more proud of him. And, he's a good kid, man. He's a good young man. He's doing great things. And I'm really looking forward to watching his career blossom over the next long time. I'll be long gone by the time he's done. But it's really good to see him doing great things. And I'm happy for him. And he's got a good rapport with the kids and the families here. So, Clarke County should be excited to have him as well.
At the Felt tonight, it is Clarke County hosting James Wood. It should be a fun one. Coach Casey Childs of the Clarke County Eagles. Really appreciate your time, Coach.
Thanks a lot for having me, man. Ring the bell.
This is Kirby's Kickoff, and we're back with more right after this. Fall is here, and Nulook Landscaping has everything your home needs to look its best. Brighten your yard with colorful mums available now. And don't forget, Nulook offers professional power washing to give your home a fresh, clean look. Call Nulook Landscaping today at 540-327-1244 or email them 2025.nulook@gmail.com. Welcome back to Kirby's Kickoff, powered by Frederick County Parks and Recreation. Wrapping things up here again. The matchups going on tonight, as you just heard earlier. Warren County hosting Rock Ridge, Handley traveling down to Eastern View, Strasburg and Skyline, James Wood and Clarke County. Huge thanks to all the coaches for taking time to talk with me on Kirby's Kickoff, and a huge thanks to Coach Breeden of Warren County and Coach Gilbert of Skyline for taking the time to talk to me as well. Looking forward to extending coverage into Skyline and Warren County high schools as well. Huge thanks to Dan Gloster and Ryan Rutherford. Dan Gloster of Winchesters Classic Country 95.7 and Ryan Rutherford of the River 95.3. That will do it for myself and Kirby's Kickoff. Now, I hope anybody who is listening, watching, however you may be consuming Kirby's Kickoff, goes out and enjoys a nice evening of high school football. It's going to be a fun season. All started with week 1. But until next week, I'm Josh Kirby. Thank you so much for tuning in to Kirby's Kickoff, and we will catch you next time.